Hey everybody, welcome back to Gun Tote Minnesota. My name is Andrew, and today I'm taking a look at the TideWe RangeFinder. It comes in actually a pretty high quality little belt case. You do have a belt clip or loop, actually. Belt loop on the back. It looks like it'll fit up to maybe a 2-inch, but a 1.75 for sure. Just a fabric case with a magnetic closure, but it does have some form to it. It's not, frumpy. It's actually got some ribs in it and a nice seam around the top. It does have a good camo pattern to fit in with most people's camo for fall hunting, which is going to be the majority of probably what I use RangeFinder for personally. There's the case, and inside is this actually really small footprint. I mean, look how big it is compared to my hand. Really small footprint. RangeFinder. It is a 700 yard on reflective targets style rangefinder. So you have your glass, you have your laser, camo pattern all the way around, and also a rubberized grip with some, not quite serrations, but there's a little pattern and grip tread to it. This one does not have a 1/4-inch jack on the bottom because it's like a pocket rangefinder. It's really not the idea of setting this up on a tripod, although if you want to set it up on a tripod, it wouldn't be that hard to set it on a backpack, rest it on a tree branch. Sometimes I just rest one arm under another, and I can be pretty steady. And then on top of that, you can get clamps that ARCA, that will be compatible for ARCA, and they'll just clamp this in. Those are like $10. But anyways, right here is your charging port. I'm gonna pull that back so you can see. I love rechargeable stuff. That's like my go-to. I absolutely prefer rechargeable rangefinders when I have the option. Anyways, you do have a lanyard loop here. I'm not going to be using the lanyard for this review, but if you want to throw it in a lanyard and put it in a pocket or put it in your belt, you have both options. You have your function buttons on top, so if I can make this clear for you, you have mode and then power. So if I need to take this out of my pocket quickly, and I have the diopter already pre-adjusted to the range where I think I'm going to need it right now, I'm going to be looking at 290 yards out to a tree line out here. I'll roll in some B-roll. When I pull it out of my pocket, it indexes really nicely because there's a little cutaway for your thumb. So as soon as it's out of the pocket, even if it's kind of dark out, low light in the morning kind of situation, when I pull it out of my pack, my hand grabs it really naturally, and it's not freezing cold because of the rubberized grip on there. It's actually quite comfortable. So when I grab it, it goes right up to the eye. Eye relief is fantastic. They did a good job. Really good job. One thing about TideWe that is just impressing me is, although their price point is quite affordable, and I hadn't heard of them until about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, I had just heard of them. They are very quickly proving themselves to be a serious hunting company, and their quality and their designs are excellent. Lots of thought process in here. Really responsive. Really responsive. I've done plenty of rangefinders in this price point, and many of them are 2 or 3 times the time length that it takes to actually get responsiveness out of one of these. Typically, on a budget rangefinder, you could expect sometimes a full second if it can range. The problem is very often with the budget rangefinders, after monkeying around with everything and poor quality glass in some of them, and maybe just weird ergonomics or button controls that don't make sense, some of those budget versions that are even cheaper than this, they're just frustrating to work with, and they might not range true, and they might not range reliably, and that just takes away the purpose. Why even have it if it's not going to do it right? This one has not failed me, and it even works in relatively low light. It's actually snowing out right now. I think it's borderline blizzard. If it was windy out, this would be a blizzard. There's plenty of snow coming down. All the snow plows are out. And I know because I put it to a maps indicator already exactly what my distances are to different targets. And I'm getting within 2 or 3, just freehand holding this, within 2 or 3 yards, not percent, yards. So less than percentages. I would guess that this has 1% or less error within 500 yards. It seems to be reading very accurately, and I just can't get over how quick this is. It's in the snow, it's penetrating the snow, it's working reliably. Lighting is not great, and whether I'm doing it on trees or I'm doing it on a rock wall over here, cars passing by, building or a shed over here, and even a road with a light post, I'm actually able to get a read on these things. And part of that is the reticle. When it comes to a rangefinder, you need a functional reticle that's going to match the application that you have. when you have the option to change through reticles or change your display, like in your display settings, most rangefinders nowadays have multiple options. And as you press your function or your mode button, you can do different things. Like you can judge speed, you can do kilometers, you can do yards. You can actually change sometimes the reticle crosshairs themselves, and it'll give you all that information down below your actual crosshair. So you can switch to your mode and customize it to the way you would actually use it. I don't tend to need to range anything in like a moving target sort of way. Like I don't have to worry about that, but you can also adjust for angulature, and that might be something for you folks up in the mountains that you need to consider is change in height does change your dope for shooting. And so if you're shooting steep up into a tree or steep up into a mountain, it's not the same as shooting flat across. Just another thing to consider when you're ranging. But I like the reticle. It's a crosshair with a loop around, and you do have a horizontal line so you know how to keep it level. Sometimes that could matter, just trying to keep everything consistent as you're going around, and you're not doing this thing and doing this thing. You can just keep it flat across. Some of the things I like about this rangefinder so far: yes, it's compact, it's affordable, comes with a decent case. The diopter adjustment seems to be true, reliable. The glass quality is pretty decent, a little bit above some of the other budget rangefinders I've recently tested. This glass quality is a little better, actually, which I'm very happy to see. And aside from just the improved ergonomics, the actual read time is faster. This is reliable. It's consistent. Even in lower light, a little bit darker out, not completely dark, but darker, I'm getting good reads out of this. And on top of that, the eye relief, the comfort behind really matters. If you have to just, really fight it, which I've had to do with some of these budget rangefinders, if you have to really fight it to find the comfortable place to get in, and then you're fighting, trying to get a true reading, deer aren't that slow. You know what I mean? Like animals, critters, hunting scenarios, animals are not that slow where they're just going to wait for you to get your crap together. So you need a rangefinder to be quick, ergonomic, reliable. It has to make sense. It has to calibrate for different variables that you're having with your environment and your shooting situation. And this can do all of it that I need. Everything that would be true about my hunting scenarios within 700 yards, because I'm not going to take a shot hunting, rather, outside of 700 yards. I just don't foresee that happening, although I went for some prairie dogs at 2,000. And we're getting reliable distances out to 500-600 yards. I don't have an ability to test it right now beyond the 600 yards, but I'm going to. So far, first look on this TideWe rangefinder. Right now, it's on sale. They're a really good deal, I think, already. The sale is just a touch on top of that. I do get behind it. I think the performance of all the TideWe stuff I've touched so far, whether it's blinds or pants or heaters or this rangefinder, they're all really good to go. And I do like the brand. I think they're going to stick around for a while. They are not just another, throw their brand on a product company. They're actually designing things, changing things, and they look for input from users and influencers online. And then they make changes based on that relatively fast. I'm really impressed with their turnaround. And so it tells me it's a company that cares. I like them. I can get behind it. If you guys are looking for a rangefinder that's in this price point and you just need, like, say that 500-600 yards and in, I can at least say yes so far for this TideWe rangefinder. The HRF700 seems pretty good to go.